The call has come. Let's go to London. Come on, Tick. Let's go! Dear darling, for I know Mother would never believe me if I told her about that boy. His name is Peter. Peter Pan. He's the funniest person I ever met. London, here we come! Woo!
Escapades of The New Adventures of Peter Pan.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Just to let you know, this is also being planned as a stereoscopic TV series. Thank you.
Thank you indeed, Sumita. I think you have given some very interesting points of self-reliance, IP, and most importantly, you highlighted the role that NASCOM and FICCI and such organizations should play as far as the government relations is concerned. So thank you for your valuable comments, and also, you know, the lovely creation by the Indian talent. And as she also referred, and we all know the success of Alpha and Omega, and the man behind the project, Mr. Rajashekar, may I request you to please step forward and please.
A very good afternoon to all of you here. Rajiv just said that I was the man behind Alpha and Omega's release. In fact, behind Alpha and Omega's release, there were 400 people at Quest, who were working day in and day out to do that. This is the first time that I'm speaking at NACPO. I've been going through all the records, reports, all the discussions which keeps happening. And quite a few times, I've been asked to come here and speak. However, being a newbie, I kind of refrain myself from coming here. Now, I've been here in this industry, or in this animated space, only for the last 6.5 years. However, I've had the privilege of being present to witness the delivery of the first CGI series to the delivery of the first 3D stereoscopic feature film from India to the world market. As you're all by now aware, the Crest became the first studio outside of the North American continent to have produced and delivered a 3D stereoscopic feature film showcased across 2,600 screens only in the United States of America. Sumita just mentioned that we grossed 35 million. In fact, I would just add another 5 million to it, because the reports keep happening. The UK reports have still not come in. They're still not released in some of the territories in the European market. And we do estimate that we're going to touch somewhere around 100 million on this. It's indeed a feat achieved by this studio, a feat that would go down the annals of Indian animation history as a turning point. Other studios DQ, Rana, Technicolor, all of them have showcased the capability and capacities of Indian animation studios in the global market. From Annie nominations to BAFTA awards to Golden Cursor awards, we have had our fair share of recognition and rewards in and from the global market. Yet, the journey so far has been only so good. And I'm of the belief that the topic, India's animation studio stands on its 2 feet, is a paradox. Now consider this. In the last 7 to 8 years, Indian animation studios have progressed from being just work-for-hire studios to co-producers and co-owners of IPs, and yet not a single Indian character brand with a global appeal. The big story is Indian animation, and the action is restricted to a few screens in a couple of metros, while we all know that India lives in its rural areas. Parents are increasingly complaining about the children's addiction to cartoons, yet studios in India are wondering if there is a market. On one hand, we have experts claiming that the Indian animation industry would do billions of dollars worth of business in the next couple of years. Employment being generated for multitudes of skilled and talented personnel, while the market is abyss, with more people being laid off than being hired. Every year, many aspiring artists show the courage to weave their dreams and color the desired future at the Tasis and Asifas, only to find no patrons. Our concept of brand seems to be limited to our association with a branded Hollywood major. Industry reports are loud with the proclamation of the potential and opportunities, yet everyone seems to be worried about where the next dollar is going to come from. All available data establishes that CGI products are the most profitable genre of entertainment products. Yet availability of capital from financial institutions is an uphill task. Everyone knows technology and technological innovations are key success factors. Yet there aren't many innovations happening. Focus on proprietary tools is a secondary consideration. We're thinking of an alternative to Superman. No one seems to be thinking of an alternative to Renderman. Thank you. We are so blinded by the visual illusion of Hollywood that we have apprehensions of our own vision. Time has come for us to move away from basking in reflected glory and finding our place in the sun. And the need of the hour is a paradigm shift. And I'll touch upon a few critical areas. Let's begin with the creativity aspect. And I'm neither creative nor technical. I'm sure by now you would have understood that. More often than not, industry ends up focusing its energies on the demand side at the cost of ignoring the supply side. I'm sure most of the people from the institutes are going to agree to this. Now this is where the institutions across the country has to bring in a paradigm shift in the way they provide for and complement the industry. Institutions need to move from manufacturing creativity to nurturing creativity. Animation is not only skill-based, it is talent-intensive. And it is definitely not for anyone and everyone who can pay. The wannabe artist can pay and get a seat in the institution. However, if the end product lacks quality, a producer, even if he pays cannot get the audience to be seated in the auditorium. If you don't believe me, and since we are all in Hyderabad, you can ask Ram Gopal Verma. He tried it with folk. One can be trained on skills. How a talent has to be identified and nurtured. Prepare the students to meet the future with respect to technological innovations, vis-a-vis just molding them to gag the current lacuna. Creative competence needs to be complemented with a very strong technical competence. Extreme prudence needs to be practiced in the selection of trainers and the trainees. For all the aspiring artists who's here, a few, you can call it gyan, you can call it advice, you could call it my perspective. Right? Content development is not the same as being content with your development so far. Ability to see is there with everybody present here, but it is not equal to the ability to visualize. To create a global character brand, one has to question and work on one's own character. 90 minutes of fun. Just to create 90 minutes of fun, you may require to go through 90 months of labor. I have a formula. Most people look forward to a formula for success, to lose weight. I'll give you a formula to be successful. The formula is HNI is equal to CNI. HNI you would have heard about, high net worth individual. To be a high net worth individual, focus on the CNI, which is creation, narration, and innovation. The second factor that I would like to touch upon is on the cost factor. A lot of discussion happens on this. More often than not, we would hear about a widely misused and abused word called cost arbitrage. Now, the cost arbitrage is a word is a misnomer. Eric touched upon it earlier. One constantly hears about Indian studios' ability to leverage on the cost arbitrage. A cursory glance through the available reports on the cost of production would establish that the production costs across studios have gone up substantially. Be it because of the increasing cost of resources, human and technology included, the cost of capital, the lack of government subsidies. The fact is, if corrective measures are not undertaken, very soon, India would have to give up beating the drum on its ability to leverage and cost arbitrage. Indian animation studios would have to get its act together if we are really keen on standing on our 2 feet. The creative and the commercial would have to train their minds to desire what the situation demands. Indian animation studios would necessarily have to change their perspectives from curtailing cost to creating value for its customers, investors, and stakeholders. While curtailing cost is a constant necessity for business to survive, creating value is an inevitability for it to be successful.